is absolutely nothing when you look at the leaderboard now. Since then, they have caught fire at the perfect time and are looking to take the top spot. They just need to hold on.
And Jacob, your team right now, Aegis and Kanata, slowly climbing up.
Yeah, we're climbing up that ladder. Hopefully they're not afraid of heights because they still got more climbing to do. But it's Kanata yet again. They're doing a great job rotating towards the end game as a solo. Aegis, unfortunately, is dropping. But Kanata is taking that pressure, and he's becoming that shining diamond we know he can be.
Guys, only 19 points, though, between Clix and Duke and first place. Honestly, they've been in this top. They came in a sixth place, and it was like, you know what, they're close. But now that these top teams have been kind of falling short a little bit in some of these end games, Clix and Duke are like, hey, listen, we are here. We want a chance at this title.
And I think part of the reason why some teams might be falling a little short is due to the issues with Storm Surge. So obviously, we're going to have to break it down once more.
We have to, and honestly, it's just such a pivotal part of the game because it can decide whether you go down early, whether you go down late, and it's always on the back foot of some of these great positions that we see out of some of these teams, and Rise and Trashy are a great example of this. As you can see, we did have that sort of a southern zone. Now, I want you guys to pay attention right here. This is their position. They decide to build up, but then look at this. When the second zone comes in, all of these teams that are all around here, they all have to come directly to Rise and Trashy, and it just works so well. And then I also want to mention it's a genius spot because just to the south of them, there is also a river that teams love to use to rotate because you can swim a little bit faster than you can run.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about when the game prior, when it ended in a tilted zone. It's great to have those phenomenal performances where you're rotating left and right and you're taking the journey to the center of the circle, but you have to win those spots when it is your zone. They immediately realize it's pulling time and time again, just like Vivid pointed out, almost 400 above the damage threshold. What that means for them is when it starts to begin those rotating zones, they don't have to peek for shots. They can continue on trying to stay ahead of zone.
This is what IGLing is all about, Jacob. It's not just about making those endgame rotations. It is setting yourself up for success when Storm Surge mechanics are on the back of your mind. And right there, Rise and Trashy, alongside a lot of these other teams, had a great position to make sure they got into that endgame.
This has been such an incredible journey so far. From our first place team almost not making it and being the literal last team to make it through in the semifinals. Peterbot and Byla, the reigning champs, slipping out of that first place spot and second place spot, which is now taken over by Bugha and Miro. And of course, the fan favorites, Clix and Duke, slowly climbing up that leaderboard. Who's it going to be for this game? Well, our casters might have the answer to that.
Game 9.
The climb is steep on day 2's game number 3, and right now, Monster, I have top 2. It's too much for him.
I'm thinking hard here. I don't know who's going to take it all the way. This is a very difficult position to be in if you're any of the players, because now what happens is you are left to answer the question, can you step up when the games are literally tied and your opponents are neck and neck?
Rise to the call. The pressure is going to be so high. A few of these teams are already used to that type of tie, but now it's real. It's halfway through the day. Your surprise type factor plays aren't going to be the most impactful. It's about being consistent and making sure that no matter what happens, you stay resilient, stay next to your teammate, and make it towards the end. All the way at the start, though. 3-way chest fight. Pickaxe is up in the way. Burst rifle for elites, and he takes out both Caster and Nico in record time. That is the fastest Synapse fight I've seen so far.
That is definitely the quickest they've managed to complete this early game contested battle. But my question for the entire lobby, especially our top 10, is have you played every card in the book? Have you played every option, every strategy you have? Has it all been employed this weekend, or do you have something else? Are there anything hidden that you can reveal now to go ahead and solidify your final half? Because ultimately, in the end, we don't want to see any regrets. Look at this. Crispin Never 5 jumped all the way to top 12. Can we just talk about how incredible that is, like, on its own? Granted, last game, Ritual and TK did make the end game.
Points every single time. It is 50-50 contestation, so it's so tough, but they're doing so well with it. And it's not just one game where Ritual and TK make it all the way to the end, Monster. There's multiple times these guys have been in end games, so Evify and Chris missing a bunch, but still making big money today.
Yeah, making some great placements so far. They have a real chance to go ahead and earn something substantial. But hold up, let's get to Bryce and crew up top. They're at 90 points or so right now, not too bad. All things considering, almost approaching the middle of the pack for the tournament. And again, just keep in mind, if you're seeing some new names and faces, a lot of these guys are making their first FNCS appearance here today. Naves and Aaron, of course, being in that conversation. Bryce and Austin, you know, they've been here. They've been around this rodeo once or twice. Maybe that's why they're leading in points currently. Still, a great day of celebration. Weekend worthy of note. Let's take a look at Bryce Route. He's managed to turn this fight around in his favor.
Distract is so precise even midair. Trying to heal up, put all the pressure on an Austin. He's going to be able to handle it for now. Dave's in the air, want to get right back into this house, find a little bit of a space of defense. But look at Austin with the pull as well. You cannot run, you can't hide when this duo has you in their sights.
This is what you show up for. Pick up your highlights, pack them up, and take them in the luggage to go. Nasin will be able to do just that. Nicely done and executed there. I'm sure he'll be happy to watch that one back later. Users Eskakuga managed to stretch out their early game contested fight against Tahi on the other side of the wall alongside Bank there. And this has kind of been the story of day two. They've really slowed down the action here at the Loot Lake. So with that, let's jump over to Tragics and Dom, a team that has also been fighting in the early game, but this time here on the western side. You can see it was a cool shot. This is on to Crisp. We were just... They didn't see this coming. This is why I talked about what other plays you have up the sleeve. That's one of them.
Yeah, the big thing about these early game fights is that I get it. You know, you can win them and get used to them. And they do give you points. They also make a lot of noise, and other teams can rock in who are struggling on the boards and pick you up right after the fact. So you have to be fast on time, move out, also win the fight. It's almost impossible every time you're contested. It's almost impossible every time you're contested.
Look at that. That is the story here. And then you have, again, Clicks and Duke who have managed to jump up there as well. Just somehow, some way, 193, the huge win last game, puts them way inside this chance here to do something huge. But let's take a look at the leaderboard for average placement. Not only have they managed to find elims, these teams have been so consistent. All of our top five. Peterbot and Bila having the worst average placement, but somehow maintaining much of a better score off of just elims alone. So I don't know which way it's going to swing today.
Yeah, it's their day one setup, so we're just having so much success in hunting down people mid-game, having enough elims and refreshes to start their end games hot. And at the end, if you're picking up elims, it's going to be huge to keep boosting up your placement. It's just a very risky strategy, so you might lose out on a few games. The start of today, Peterbot and Bila just haven't made it too deep and towards the end game, so gotta make sure you're there every single time. Mem and Avery, a nice try for a comeback last time. It bumps them up and keeps them in fifth. It might feel like they haven't moved anywhere, but to hold your spot, you have to have impressive games back to back to back as well.
Well, they actually climbed up just a little bit. Remember, Jamper and Hamzo were above them, and last game should have been the end of Avery. He was taken out early with the, of course, that ambush plan. They turned that into an end game. I don't know how they did it. We're gonna have to go back into the footage there and review that one, because just talk about an incredible comeback. Talk about being resilient and playing extremely smart and executing when it matters. Miro and Booga playing the ocean side right now. This seems to be a really tough spot that they're in. Not only were Costa and Zeus somewhat ready for their strategy, I think they've adjusted after the last 3 games here.
A lot of the times, Costa and Zeus, the people who are fighting and shooting Miro and Booga right now, will choose to stay very, very north in this desert, look to go towards the next zone. When the desert pulls a zone, when it's towards the south side, they can explore more, come down to Booga and Miro's home and take the fight to them. So that's exactly what they do. The game plan for Booga and Miro will have to switch. They'll have to move down, right, and try a different way to play Fortnite this time. Yamzo Jamper also can't really surprise much people at the Rave Cave. They'll be moving way past them a lot faster too. Every time there's a south zone on the map, the majority of POIs will be changing and moving faster. A lot of them are a bit more mid-map and higher inside the map. So here it is, down and right puts Booga and Miro up against Blake and Vert. They do manage to take them out and put down pressure. That'll slow down the whole lot.
This game is looking like the revenge of the teams that Miro and Booga have been farming for surge tags, as they've all collapse inwards towards this general area of Chonker Speedway. Look, and the zone is here, so there's no reason for Zeus or Costa to go, but Miro makes a mistake, hits the tire there, loses all his shield, and now forced into his metal. He tries to get to the build to survive himself as Ghost Blake and Vert also sweep around the side. That's going to turn into something very, very interesting here shortly.
Sometimes it's good to have a home zone, but if you can't leave home and you're just trapped, seeing the same things every day, you can't even go outside, can't do much in terms of living your life. It's going to be tough for Bugha and Miro to move out of Chonkers and stay safe.
Edging Acorn farming tags onto Cold, but let's get back to the action that matters here. Our first place team of Bugha and Miro. Now, defensively positioned here inside the building. Also notice how much they had to heal. They are in the worst position we've seen them since game 1 of yesterday's kickoff. Bert's gonna find a couple tags, not enough to really initiate anything here. He doubles back to the side in another angle, and it's like Miro's just letting his guard down and being outsmarted right now. This is, again, the first time they've had any kind of resistance like this.
I like that follow-up with the tire too. This is so different for Bugha and Miro though. I just don't think, with how most of these games are going, pulling up north that first day, as you mentioned, Monster, the patterns they were used to. They're not expecting this much of so many teams moving right to them and taking revenge, as you said. Trashy and Rise, though, now in their natural habitat. Is this their final comeback game?
True that. There's an opportunity here for them to jump back into this. You only have 3 big games.
They were a second-place team, Monster, on day 1 at one point.
They were definitely playing consistent. Today's been somewhat of a struggle for them. Falling a bit early is again, that momentum that you lose out on can change your mentality. And, you know, a lot of these fights may feel insignificant because players can heal back up, but think about how much time you lose, that you have to rebuild your material counts. Get a little lucky and find more shields and health to take into the later games as well. It's not that simple. As you start to slip behind, it really becomes more and more difficult as that clock rages on in that bottom right corner. Hamster and Fatch, you see, also positioned in first place because, again, they are completely tied here coming into game 9. This has been a 2-day tournament. I want to encourage you all as well. Just check out the past games. Yesterday's first 6 were incredible.
Absolutely. It's where some of these teams built up their base onto how they are today. Some crucial moments on day 1 might be the reason Pam so fast. Peter about Bila. A lot of the teams who are trying to come back to might just end up winning. Lawrence and Paper were very good in the first half of the first day's games and denying pressure, picking up a few mid-game elims. And right now, when there are box fights available, they're some of the stickiest players that deal the most damage. So hard to take out. Seems like they have more HP than everyone else. They take so much punishment and just don't go down.
Paper and Lawrence have really been reaching for the stars here. They've managed to continue to stay consistent enough to remain inside the top 10. Meanwhile, Bang and Tahi survived their drop. They're walking up. They got Aviv and Donnie inside. Aviv and Donnie, although they have been playing quite the crazy weekend here, they're at 14th, really pulling it all together.
There's no way this works. There's just no way. It's like I'm watching a cinematic Fortnite trailer for a new item. You know what I mean? That type of thing, just crouching up right next to a big base. Tahi Bank finally discovered, though, Aviv and Donnie, they don't get fooled.
You know, sometimes people probably look at the trailers like, no, where do you get this gameplay from? It never looks like that for me.
From the FNCS, yeah.
Yeah, you haven't tuned into an FNCS yet. The clips come directly from here. These are the fun moments that you wait for, that you tune in for. Aviv and Donnie get punished, though. A big shot there, armored wall. The most crucial of defensive items get used, and they only have a single one left, so Donnie wants to branch out, give himself a little more room to work with. Slow down now. Didn't really anticipate Chimp and Spade to walk into this fight, but now a little too many teams here, so they do have to be careful on this disengage.
We're talking about so many top teams. One that we failed to mention is Aegis and Kanata. Where are they? Well, I found a magical map, and I'm gonna hand it over to Mini Miner. What are they up to, Mini?
They're in zone. Hallelujah for this team. They've actually pulled a zone. Thankfully, it's a south zone. And this is what I want to look at. How are they adapting? How have they changed their strategy? Of course, they're no longer in a north zone. It's now a south zone. It's right in their backyard. And they're actually using this really, really well. They're using the natural elevation that Greasy Grows offers, of course, with those buildings. And, of course, with the mushrooms that are nearby as well. Trying to tag as many teams and players around as possible. Getting that Storm Surge done as early as possible. What else I noticed was Kanata and Aegis are actually split up whilst doing this. Although they are, you know, in the zone, in this south zone, they're still splitting up, trying to maximize the tags that they can get, whilst just being really, really close to each other, but not quite in the same box.
They have the zone, they control space, they control time, and are dealing so much damage. Thank you, Mini, for the magic. At the same time, though, Monster, it's a very good point he makes. The fact that they have zone, their biggest weakness has been rotations. The fact that they don't have to rotate is going to be huge. And right now, Miro and Bugha up against one of their late game weaknesses looks to be Clix and Duke, and the fact that they play those same layers. And they're right beside each other on the boards as well. They'll go head to head, but won't actually resolve the fight.
And it's crazy though. You have Dom and Tragic's a bubble team on the outskirts, Knifer and D-Roller, a team that has nothing to lose listening to this go down as well. And that is probably the worst concoction of teams that you have around you, because you effectively open yourself to everything that's inside the melting pot, all in one spot. Teams at the bottom, the middle, and the top, each of them will react differently. So you have all those elements. That's such a tough spot to be in. But on over to Pamps and Fats, who are also in a desperate situation now. 130 damage below the surge here. They will have to heal. You have a lot to sustain, but so many players will have to fall here. They're very far from safety. They will have to fight shortly, but the rotate matters. 20 seconds in order to find some tags. Otherwise, they will be forced into a box dive situation.
Don't want to have that. Or maybe they do, because that first game, they really jumped right in. Put about Baila's box. Might be trying to set up a trap. Maybe this was the answer last time. They were low on surge. Thing is, though, they're really good at interrupting a third party, or just being a third party, interrupting a fight and having that type of situation. Right now, for Pump and Teo, Pamsto fakes right, follows him towards the backside. They're gonna try to impede him towards the box. There's so many teams in the same situation. Inside Storm from 100 damage now down to 223. This is gonna be desperation. Fatch deleted, taken out. The pressure of the tie, too much to handle. They don't move as fast as the previous games. Pump denied access to Pamsto's body for even more shots, but it's just a matter of time before he goes down. Surge on one side, two players on the other. They're following. There's just no chance.
Fatch actually hit a huge shot right now. He might have just taken out the player down low. He does. Teo is hurt. Pump is now left with nothing. It was close, but not close enough as Pump finished it off. For a moment there, I thought he was going to be able to do it. Pamsto will fall to the hands of Cold there with the big tag, and all of a sudden now Pamsto and Fatch, our French-Canadian favorites, are out of the competition for now, sent back to the lobby. That will hurt. They will have to sit in pain right now as they wait it out, and they have now lost the chance to break away or keep up with the lead of the others. Duke and Clix are happy about this. They will have an opportunity now to close that 10 or 15 point gap or so.
I mean, you talk about it, and they just flicked from 3rd to 4th place. So they have that chance to rise up. The thing is, though, they really want to make sure they do it patiently. There are some people running out of patience at a time. Jack takes down Baila.
Baila's gonna fall here. That's gonna definitely spell a story for us if he gets the full finish, but for now, it's just a knock. Meanwhile, Duke has a problem. Two teams left and right, not too far away from safety. Clix is gonna lose all his HP. Gold is gonna come in and drop him, and now another team inside the top 5 has issues on the horizon here. Clix gets finished. Duke is by himself. Can he pull the story off? Can he pull the clutch? But no! Gold will win that as well in a 2v1. Narwhal's not even here to back him up. He just finishes off.
Clix and Duke. That's who he finished. That's just so big from Gold. Huge shots. Way deep in 30th place team, affecting someone in the top 5. And that's 3 teams back-to-back who were tied, who were so close to podium status, who had it, who could have ran away with it, away from the competition, were stopped in their tracks.
At this point, where is Bugha and Miro? How well are they positioned to do something with this game? Because last we tuned in, it was not looking good. They were next to Clix and Duke, and every other type of team you can ask for outside the Chonker Speedway making their way to this rotate in this zone. Teams being Vert and Blake, Knife for D-Roller, and then, of course, the rest. For Edgy and Acorn, though, they're under pressure here.
Definitely under pressure, but they have not had a window like this. We'll tune to the other side, the opposition, as to how they're looking at Acorn and Edgy. And I'm looking at them, too. This is the game that they can climb back. Armored wall pressure from Tahi and Bank. They're desperate. Here's a second one. Here's 10 more seconds of farming. I don't think you guys have the time for this one. The zone's starting to tick for 5. On the left side is Tahi, trying to break into the box once again, but it's metal wall. It's not going to be possible to rain through. Taken out. Kazahoo Fishing going for the next challenge again. That's so much loot. Another POI that they can basically just grab off the ground in terms of a loadout. And Edgy takes it away.
And the most important thing, they actually pick up 4 more armored walls there. So all the armored walls they used was great, but they get to get even more. Take a look at the replay. One of the most important ones. This is where Baila is down. Peterbot gets chased down. 6 HP and then finished. to the hands of Jock and company there, swinging their way to that other side.
We were focusing on the top 5, but it's time to flip the coin and look at the other side of the top 10 right now, because now everyone from 5th to 10th has a chance to rise up, make it forward towards that 200-point spot. We just saw one team, Acorn and Neji, have that window and dive straight past the Pain, Commandment, and Avery. They've taken lots of bludgeoning, punishment. Now they can also rise.
Booga, Miro, Commandment, Avery, Acorn, Edgy are all the teams in the run right now to continue to rise here. Meanwhile, Ghost, Blake, and Vert survive that early game rotate. Vert's extremely hurt here. They're trying to actually see what they can muster up as far as the loot goes. There's not much, though. Nothing found, not even worth it.
Look at the stretch they have as well to make. Every time we've seen a team in this position, I mean, just saw Panso and Fast one, they didn't make it. Pitterban and Bala as well, same situation, did not make it. Dix and Duke, same type of stretch. That 70-meter, 100-meter type of run you have to make. Even if you're the most healthy in first place, it's tough. Vert's at 1 HP. He can't actually back up now. It's only move forward.
At this point, Vert, just drop your mats for Blake and let him grapple to the new zone, because you are running out of plays right now. It's not looking good. Miro and Booga have eyes on this team here. This is revenge in full. You rotate into us, well, now we get to rotate in front of you and hold you out here.
Not even that. You take us out a few games ago. You deal damage to our bodies towards the end as well. That next game, we're hunting you down. Miro and Booga in one of the best spots to be in. High can't really focus on for now. Once again, the entire lobby even. There isn't that much congestion in any box. If you're not on Surge, you don't have the options of a desperate box fight. Everyone in Metal 2, so you're not going to be able to beam any walls. It's just Jack who has the opportunity for one right now. And with Nosh by his side, there will be trades inside the box. The Commandment will reign supreme in that one for now.